This week on the Owner's Pride podcast, join me as I sit down with Sean Gervais, the CEO of OrbisX, and he drops marketing breadcrumbs like Hansel and Gretel for you to pick up and use to clobber the witch that is sales. This week on the Owner's Pride podcast.
Welcome to the Owner's Pride podcast, where we discuss all aspects of auto detailing with successful detailers and industry leaders around the world. From San Diego, California, your host and our friend, Dan E. Williams. Take it away, Danny.
Welcome to the Owner's Pride podcast. I have a returning guest on the Owner's Pride podcast today, Mr. Sean Gervais, who is the CEO of Creative Designs, Printing Shark, Auto World, and OrbisX. Sean, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. How about yourself, Dan?
I too I'm on top. It's hard to imagine. Things keep stacking on top and making it better and better and better. And I refer to is life and business.
I love it.
And,
absolutely. Yeah.
Get our footwear knocked out for the day.
Yeah. We have to do that every time. Me just socks today. Yeah, just it's a rainy day here, so been indoors.
All right. Well,
it's our common theme there.
How's business going for you in Canada in your detail shop side of the world?
Oh, everything's fantastic. Actually, we're super slammed right now. Spring's finally here. We're busy every winter, but this spring obviously is busier than ever. But since we've added new staff and we also have new services that we're offering too, it's just been crazy. Like, we're doing remote starters now. We got a bunch of new products from you guys, which has been awesome. And so customers are loving it since we've switched things up. They like the products we had before, but they hadn't seen these products, and that's why. So it's been great, especially a lot of our maintenance guys. We got a guy that comes every week with his McLaren, and he said night and day difference. So yeah, he loves stuff. And for those guys, we usually we have this thing called the high five. So basically, anyone that has high five figure or more vehicles, we open up brand new products for them. So brand new microfibers, things like that. Never touched a vehicle before, and they can see us open it up right for them. And that's what they come back for. And then after that those products or those microfibers, things like that, continue their life cycle with the lower five. But
that's pretty cool. Definitely sets them apart from the crowd, makes them feel more special with their more expensive car.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, but they're loving the products. Yeah, the feedback we've been getting is just incredible. Yeah,
I think that's one of the things I like about having you on the podcast as a guest. You drop about 15 nuggets at least every time of just like stuff that's right there in front of everybody, but probably nobody really thinks about.
It's true, yeah, and it's just exactly. And well, it's one of those things even where a lot of people don't even take the time they explain their process to the customer, things like that. But we actually walk them through, show them what we're using, and we explain why we're using it. So we have a jar of empties, and so we hang on to old things that we used. And what we show them is sometimes they say, well, how come that product isn't finished yet? And we say, well, there's a reason. It wasn't up to par. So we kept it just to show you that we tried all these different things. So it's not like we got seduced by one brand. We tried different things, and we kept what works and what doesn't, right? So we want to show you that, we tried these different products, and this is the one that works. Doing little things like that, like it's kind of like, every chocolate factory, they do like a tour, and they have people go through and they see how, like the chocolate's made and this and that for chocolate bars. Same thing. Give the tour to your customers, show them. And if you're mobile, it's a little different, of course, but, for us, we have a shop. So for guys with a shop, take the customer on a tour, and you'll have them for life. They'll be so excited. They get to see like behind the scenes. And so, yeah, but happy to drop the nuggets. So,
originally when you were saying it, I was thinking, okay, that only makes sense for your really high end customer, but I'm for the new towels, right? But the showing them a little bit of, lifting up the skirt a little bit to show any customer is just adding a customer experience that makes them feel special.
100%. Yeah. And that's what you want.
If you were doing 50 washes a day or something, it might be a little bit crazy to try to bring everybody in. But, car wash,
it's true.
Detail shop, two different customers, really.
Absolutely. And you can pick and choose and kind of gauge from the customer. If someone, for example, if someone's going to be waiting around a little bit or something like that, well, what we usually do is while someone's getting their exterior done and the car's being prepped for whatever work's about to happen, we'll take them on just a quick tour. It takes 30 seconds, walk them around, show them some stuff, show them some products. It's a great talking point, and it's also a great opportunity to upsell. That's one of the main reasons we do it. You got to think, like, we're seeing around 30 cars a day, but we don't have to do this with every customer because a lot of them are repeat customers, right? So in that same day, there might only be 6 or 7 new customers, and the rest are returning customers, right? So it's highly recommended though. And if you take that little bit of time, like, you worked so hard to bring that one customer in the door, that if you take that extra time, you can walk them through and turn it into a higher ticket sale. Absolutely.
Do you use a check-in sheet for all of your new customers that come in to point out anything that may be already damaged on a vehicle, but more importantly, as you were just saying, as a tool to use for upsell? So if you kind of did a walk around like they do when you take a car to a dealership and you're going to do a trade-in, they'll do a walk around of the car and they use it for that purpose, So if you're coming in there to look at a new car and you have a car that has door dings all over it, or stains on the inside, or the seat is ripped, then they know that when they get you into the F&I, it's time to push those pieces towards you.
100%. And yes, we do. We started out in the beginning before we had Orbis. We started out with just like printed checklists, and we had a clipboard, and we had the checklist for the damage, and then we had one for upsells, and we used that to refine the process to build into OrbisX. And essentially what we do now is we have the damage intake form, but on the same page we have you scroll down, so you do the damage intake, and then after that you have the upsell sheet. It's actually the more important side of it, because we have cameras all over our shop. We're not too concerned about damage because the vehicle's monitored the whole time. There's no, you damaged my panel. Well, you can see we never touched that panel except in a good way, right? So things like that. It's more the damage is to walk around with the customer and you have a reason to be talking to them about their car, and that's where you do the upsell. And so we do have it. We did ours in a pretty cool way actually with OrbisX, is that we inflate all the prices. So we put, let's say it's, a glass treatment, and maybe we usually would charge, let's just say $40 just for the sake of argument. We'll put it at $80, and we just drastically inflate everything. And then what we do is we check off all the things, but we haven't talked price with them yet. And then we say, and listen, because you're getting a job done with us today, I can actually get this. I mean, I'll have to get it approved, but I could probably get it for you for 70% off. And then we'll add in the discount code there and then show them, look, you're saving like $450 today just by pulling the trigger right now. They think they're getting a great deal, and we're still charging what we were going to charge anyways. So that's all built into the forms. So it makes it easy, and then that way they can sign off on it and straight to the bank.
Now, I recently had Ben Gay III, who is a salesperson. He wrote a books called The Closers, Part 1 and Part 2. Sold like 10 million copies. So an older fella in sales for like 50 plus years. And when we were talking about how to sell stuff, he said similar to what you're saying. But he always would make a bundle. So you put out the higher prices, but then say, hey, here's the bundle. And, that's really what you're trying to get, the interior and the exterior and the glass.
Exactly.
All at once for a slightly discounted price.
Absolutely. And at our shop, we bundle it more, and we'll do the tinting. And do you have a remote starter? And do you have this and you have that? Absolutely. The bundles are huge. You got to think, look at the success of major corporations like McDonald's, Cineplex, like all of them. They all had things bundled. So it just makes sense, like you don't go see a movie without, getting the popcorn and getting everything else. And then they started offering that as, actual bundled type deals. McDonald's, case in point, with the hamburger, the fries, the drink, it works. People love bundles. Yeah, absolutely.
Are you aware of what we have coming down the pike? Is that what the pike?
I'm aware. I
think with some new warranty programs.
Yeah. I'm aware of some things, but to be honest, you guys have so much new stuff coming out. It's a lot to keep track of. So absolutely. I'm aware a little bit, but tell me as well for the viewers too. They might want to hear.
Well, as we launch our new website, which is coming up, I'm not sure where exactly this podcast is going to fall. I've got a few of them in stacked, ready to go. But when our new website launches, we're bringing on a compliant RV warranty program. marine program,
Yeah, with the
power
boats.
sports, dent and ding, key fob replacement, a
Oh, I didn't know that
glass
was part of it too. Wow. Okay.
glass with a 2,500 and a $5,000 aggregate that includes resetting all of the sensors. Um,
Oh,
Gosh, and it seems like there's something else too, but it's like it's so overwhelming. These are things that were only
yeah.
traditionally sold in dealerships in the F and I. And we're even working on a way to finance those so people can the detailer would get paid immediately, and then we could finance these out for the customers. So
That's amazing.
yeah,
Wow. Jeez, that's awesome. And especially in our case, like right now, we're going through a third party for customers that do want to get stuff financed. So it'd be nice if we can kind of consolidate things into one too. That's awesome, though.
yeah,
Jeez.
it's just
So I guess
exciting.
2021 is going to be quite the amazing year then. Gee.
2020 for all things considered, going through a global
Yeah,
pandemic. It was maybe as far as
stellar.
business goes, it was the best year of my
Yeah,
life entirely. And
yeah.
2021 looks like it's going to be even better. So,
I know. I'm in the same boat, and that's where it's like, I mean, all things considering, obviously there was some, downsides to 2020, but to be honest, everything was like 5 stars on my end. I don't know.
yeah, I
It's
almost feel guilty sometimes, you know?
I know, I feel bad too. Like I went to Greece, and I like, I don't know. I feel guilty, yeah. But hey, life is to be lived, right? So yeah, but
Absolutely. Well,
yeah,
and that's why
business
we keep
wise, yeah, it was just stellar.
that's why I keep bringing you back on here, because you are a
Yeah,
winner. Every
absolutely.
time when we talk, I'm just like amazed at how many things that you have going and how you can keep, you know, whole
Keep my
businesses
hair from turning gray.
in order. Keep it on your head.
Yeah, yeah. It's a balancing act, but I'm a very good juggler. That's
All right. Well, today
absolutely.
I brought you on here specifically, and we were going to talk about social
Yes,
media posting and ads, right?
absolutely. Yeah, it's something that I have quite a bit of experience with through my marketing agency, but also direct experience with detailing, PPF, tinting, all kinds of things through my auto shop as well. So seeing what works, and it's an area that through OrbisX I've seen that a lot of detailers are struggling with. They're trying to figure out, okay, I'm getting organized with OrbisX, and I'm loving that my shop is now handling a lot of the marketing for me automatically. But social media, Google, those things still have to play a role in bringing some customers in, right? And that's where a lot of them are kind of stuck.
Yeah. How many people have from our network have jumped on with Orbis X? I mean, not
Oh
specifically,
my
but
gosh.
a good bit.
Yeah, no. Oh, through you guys specifically, hundreds, hundreds. Yeah, I was actually surprised to be on. Well, I knew you guys were going to send some traffic, of course, but yeah, it was hundreds. And it's funny. Just before when we were kind of going over, discussing different things about what's been going on with us lately, before we started recording, I got two more that came in, and I was just replying to those when you were sending that other email. So
Nice.
it's yeah, they still filter in, absolutely, and that's where things like this, little refreshers, get more people in. But so far, yeah, you guys have sent hundreds over, and it's been great. And the biggest thing too is for me, it's also more the quality as well. I want to make sure I'm happy that it wasn't like thousands, because I want to make sure that I can spend the time with each of them to learn about their business, kind of tailor things towards their needs, and really help them out, because OrbisX is going to help them succeed. I want to make sure that they can dive in and then swim on their own.
Yeah. I just cannot stress enough the importance of having a CRM to organize your customers.
Yeah,
I think one of the places is
I would be
everybody
lost without.
is everybody following through with it, because we do our business coaching, and a lot of the guys that we give actionable items to, after a couple meetings, they stop, they don't come back for another one, and I think it's because
Yeah, yeah,
they're maybe not hitting those actionable items. And some of the guys have said that it's a little difficult for them, especially the ones maybe who are older, right, to figure out
yeah,
how to use everything, and that's like the one piece that holds them back. But I think that your system is so much easier to use
yeah.
than we use HubSpot, and that's a lot more
Oh, geez, a
a
lot
lot
more
more to
complex. Yeah,
learn.
yeah, it's true, and I mean, there's a lot of systems out there, And some of them, the setup is really easy, but then using the program, it doesn't really do anything. Others, the setup's really complicated and the system still doesn't do anything. We've tried to kind of make it really foolproof where there's not much that you have to do for setup. It kind of sets itself up. And then as your business goes, the system will kind of put the pieces together for you or make suggestions. But the biggest thing for us is the live chat. So we had a lot of the guys that went on the live chat and they had questions. And I've got people that answer the live chat in the wee hours of the morning. I answer it when I can. And we answer questions sometimes at, 1, 2 in the morning. Other times it's during business hours. It's just whenever they're there, but walking them through things, getting things set up. The biggest issue has been people setting it up with Twilio, like for sending text messages, but not an issue on the OrbisX side. More Twilio themselves. They've changed some policies recently because of AT&T and Verizon with privacy stuff. So we've been helping them kind of navigate the Twilio waters a bit. But I mean, hey, that's great customer service. We just say, yeah, we'll take care of it for you. They stay on the live chat. We message them back, all done, smiley face, and life goes on.
Twilio?
Yeah, so
there's something new every time I talk to people. There's like, how about this
Absolutely.
one? Like, man, Facebook and LinkedIn. I got no more time than Facebook and LinkedIn.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah.
What is Twilio?
I know there's so many. So Twilio, yeah, it's to put simply, it's kind of it handles text messages for you reliably. So it's a way that you can integrate, like HubSpot, for example, can integrate with Twilio, things like that. And it allows you to just send a text to somebody. And it does so reliably because there is no real universal system to send to, there's so many different providers, so many different phone types, things like that. So Twilio is kind of the bridge between software and the end user getting a text message.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Then I got all my people, my international people, they all just want to talk on WhatsApp.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. Oh, and it does that as well. You can send messages to WhatsApp through Twilio as well. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do a lot of things. If you want to get really complicated, like you can even send video, voice, all kinds of stuff. But then you can do simple things like sending a text message, so on and so forth. It's it's different. So that's where people have to wrap their heads around, like, what is Twilio? Why do I need it? And it's like, well, if you want to send text messages to customers, this is what you have to do. And then the biggest thing is you have to follow certain rules when you start texting people. You can't just, blast people randomly.
One of the points that we're going to tie into this here in just a minute, but this is
Sure.
why you have to have people, and I don't know where it was on this. Here's my props.
Oh, there we go. Nice. I was promised props. There we go. Nice. With multiple hats. Nice.
Okay, there we go. That was my first time using props. The detailers have to wear a lot of hats.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
I mean, just to stay abreast of all of the new technologies coming up, this is why having somebody to help you do your marketing. And I think that a point that you wanted to that you were making before we started was, we can go over this, and a lot of what we at Owner's Pride try to bring through this podcast is a really grassroots how you can do this work. But I often use the example, like I pay somebody to come and take care of my front yard because time is money. And if you're running a business, you can only do so much. And with all of the new social media platforms that keep popping up, and you have to be so nimble to know all the information, this is where you really you can do so much only yourself.
Yes, exactly. Well, even think about their customers. Your customers can wash their own car. They could detail their own car if they took the time to learn and buy the equipment and so on and so forth. But they hire a detailer out of convenience or to do a better job or because they don't have time, things like that. So it's the same thing when it comes to your marketing and doing that stuff. I'm fortunate for our shop that, we have a marketing company because then we can just utilize our own services. We have a printing shop as well, so we do our own printing. But most detailers aren't in that same situation. And so that's where they really have to think about what they want to do with their time, outline all the different pieces that their business needs as an organism and say, okay, my business needs, print material because print is not dead. It needs social media ads. We have to be on Google. It needs SEO. It needs my Google business page, Facebook page. There's all these different things, and we're just scratching the surface. How much of that do you want to take on? How much of that can you take on and do it well? Because it's not just a checklist item. A lot of these things need, they're like plants. They need watering. You can't just do it once and it's done. I did my SEO. I'm finished. It doesn't work like that. There's a reason that companies charge monthly is because it needs monthly maintenance.
As well, if you're a small business, it's one thing. And my business that I had in detailing was small. I usually had an employee, but probably 65-70% of the time it was just me and my dog. It gives you a tremendous amount of freedom. But, Dustin, our Western Regional Manager who bought my business, he very recently had COVID. So he was like on lockdown for a couple of weeks. And he's in the process of expanding right now of his business. And it just makes so much more sense when you can see something like that happen. So you got to think, if you're a small business and you're trying to wear all of the hats, you're trying to do the detailing, do the appointments, you start spreading yourself thin, and then you're not protected in the case of something happening. That could really mess you up if you just had to if you got injured. Say you fall down and break your leg. So
yeah. It's true. It's funny. I saw a post in the group. Well, it's not funny, sorry, but it's it's ironic, I guess. I saw a post in the group recently. Someone said, "What happens to your business if you took a month off, for example? What happens?" And the answer for most people, unfortunately, is devastation. Like it's over. There's no income coming in. The customers start looking elsewhere. It can have impacts that are really hard to repair. And so, the way I've structured my companies, for example, I frequently and often take months off at a time. So I devote myself to other projects. I devote myself to other things, family time. I went to Greece for a while. We lived in the Caribbean for a year. Like I do different things. All through that whole process, none of my businesses have ever suffered because they're not reliant on me. I'm not the business. I've created a business where I have teams, I have staff, and people that get stuff done, and things that I don't do internally, I hire people for, and I get them done because we need to focus on our expertise and doing the right things. And that's how, but that takes time to get there. Absolutely. And I know that there's a lot of detailers working on a shoestring budget, or they aren't even sure what something should cost. So it's kind of hard to, jump in and make that purchase. You're worried about getting burned or paying too much. Maybe you don't even have the right people in your network. It's hard to say. But these are things that you have to start considering and look at and say, okay, maybe I'm going to try my own SEO for now, but the goal is to get someone professional doing it at some point, like stuff like that. So it's
get busy making your money and pay people to help you make your money because you'll make more money.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Because you can duplicate through employees, right? You can hire more employees. You can't duplicate yourself unless, I only have 24 hours in a day. I'm pretty sure it's the same for you and the viewers. If not, let me know, like where you found some extra hours. but I'm pretty sure it's still 24, So it's, the beautiful thing is that every day you open your refrigerator and you've got 24 hours put back in it magically. But it's what you do with those 24 hours that's going to make the difference, right? So don't let it spoil.
Amen.
I know, right?
So
no prop now? No props?
I've expended all my props for this one. Well, try
that was good, though. There we go.
Pride.
Yeah. Nice. I love the plug. Perfect.
So one of the things that's really cool when you come onto the podcast is you bring so much knowledge for everybody. And you even brought me an outline. And that's just huge. So after,
you got to plan or else you plan to fail, right?
Yep. After our initial banter, we can dive right into this. And today we're going to discuss, I believe, social media and ads.
Yes, that's right. Absolutely.
So
it's a hugely important thing for your business. There's no getting around it. Social media is not going anywhere. And that's where a lot of your customers are hanging out, especially in the world that we're living in now, where, people are checking it for news. They're checking in on friends and family and stuff. So if you can be part of the disruptions in their day, to say, where your ad is going to show up, and hopefully they'll take advantage of your offer.
I gotta say, what's really funny, I've just been sitting here talking to you, and as I just looked down at the notes, you were already on the whole. You were already well on track, and I thought we were just getting ready to start being on track.
Oh,
so
no,
funny,
perfectly on track.
funny as it is, we were already there. So, I guess I can skip this whole big thing that we've been talking about in the middle. Skip the whole piece about what you bring to the table, because it's pretty freaking obvious. And we said, do you have enough staff and to handle the work without your customer experience suffering? So we've covered the first thing. I'm just going to dive right into the next part. So
perfect.
How about a budget for these guys for what they're doing? How does somebody figure out what their budget is and what a proper budget? I know I've heard Dustin with the marketing company that he uses say that he needs to spend 10 to 20% of his monthly income through his marketing company. But is there a hard set rule?
There is and there isn't. And the biggest thing to remember is the hard set rule is that you can never spend too much. But the goal is to refine so that your costs go down. And I'll dive into it a little bit more, so it's not just a vague answer like that. But the biggest takeaway is that a lot of people think that at some point you don't have to advertise, or I've heard statements like, oh, I bring in enough business without advertising, I don't need to advertise. And that's true in the case that if you're a solopreneur and you have no intentions of turning it into a business. Because technically, if you're a solopreneur, you've got a good job, and that's great. It's paying your bills, it's getting your food on the table, and that's fantastic. But if you want a true business where you've got staff and you can grow and expand and possibly sell that business at some point with an exit plan, that's where you're going to need to advertise at some point. Like, even everyone's heard of Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola still advertises to this day. And there's a reason for it. You have to stay relevant, you have to stay in front of people, and you have to expand. So that's the components you want to cover. Now, what that takes for each situation is going to be a little bit different. So there's no hard set rule per se, because the location you're in, you might be in a city with 20,000 people. You're going to have much different requirements than someone who's a detailer in New York City, for example. So they're obviously facing different hurdles than you're going to face. But similarly, they're going to have an easier time because there's going to be a lot more people they can target than what you would have in a smaller city, for example. So there's positives and negatives on both sides. When it comes to a budget, I would say that what we try and do is we overspend in the beginning when we're doing our A/B testing with the intention to scale back. So what we were aiming for was around $3,000 a month. That was our social media expenditure that we wanted to achieve. So we spent $8,000. So that's what we did for 2 months, and we started to refine things. We found ads that were winners, ads that were losers. Now, your budget might be different, but the biggest thing is setting your expectations correctly. Because if you think that, oh, I'm going to spend $100 and I'm going to get 20 coding jobs out of it, well, that's just not realistic. If that was the case, everybody would do it. And especially to think that someone with no marketing experience is going to have those kind of results, it's a little far-fetched. It's just not something that happens often. Industry standard is usually around 2 to 5% conversion rates. So if you spend $100, think that if you get, let's say you get, it's $1 per click, let's just say. So you get 100 people that click. That means that 2% approximately are going to possibly fill out your form. That's 2 people. Now you've got to have the right price. You've got to catch them at the right time. They have to actually be people that are actually interested in, ceramic coating. Maybe it was your competitors. Who knows? Could be so many things. So to think that, there's no magic bullet per se with a budget, but to think that $100 is going to go very far online, it definitely doesn't go that far like it used to. So I would say that a good rule of thumb is to take a look at the population size you have. Well, real quick before I jump into that too, it depends what you're selling as well, right? So for us with detailing, we had a little bit higher budget because the volume was a little bit higher, and we knew that we were going to upsell them anyways. So we were going for break even. That was our goal. So we figured if it costs us $8,000 to bring in $8,000 worth of business, perfect. that to us was a win. That's a major win because you can upsell those people other things. You also get a long-term customer as long as you treat them right. So really it's not 8,000 in business. We're breaking even today, but in the long run it's not. So gauge, yeah, I'd say 20%. I'd say that sounds reasonable, but more so than that, I would say just kind of be fluid with it a little bit. Don't give it a hard number per se. Just kind of toss some money at it, but it needs to be money that you think you could realistically break even with, and start with something like $100, $500, and just see what kind of results happens. But you need all the other pieces in place, like following up. You have to have a plan.
Process.
What happens when you get this person that fills out the form? Then what? Are they supposed to book themselves? If you're hoping they're going to just like take themselves, from finding you in Facebook all the way to booking themselves an appointment and then showing up at your door, you need to be, involved in there somewhere, because it's not going to happen. So the results that you can get from the budget are really going to be impacted by what you do next.
Yeah. And I think one of the really important things that you said in there is that A/B split test. If you're even if you're doing this on your own, you have to do 2 ads and run them side by side to see which one's performing better.
Yep. Exactly.
If not, you just don't know. And that might be you are using 2 different colors of vehicles, or 2 different kinds, or a higher class vehicle and a lower, to see what's going to ring your bell a little bit more. If you're working with a marketing company, they're automatically going to do that. But that's some stuff that you just don't think about on your own.
It's true. And the A/B testing I love because, excuse me, and we do multiple A/B tests. We'll run 20 or 30 ads at the same time, and then look at the results. And we track all the variables, different image. Some of them use a video instead of an image. Most of our ads that are successful, just a little tip, is ads that show people and someone smiling. Those have the biggest response rates. People don't respond as much to seeing a picture of just a car or seeing a car getting cleaned. It visually tells them what's happening. A car is getting detailed, for example, but it doesn't inspire them with any kind of emotion. It doesn't transfer any emotion to them. So you need to show. Our most successful ads have actually been showing someone just driving in their car, being happy. Not even showing the actual, like, you don't even see the dash. You more see the person just in a car and they're happy. It's the emotion. You're selling that feeling, the solution to the problem, right?
That speaks to the psychology side. They see that and they want to be that person.
Exactly. It's Nike doesn't just show a picture of the shoe. They show someone running down a forest, and it's fall, and there's leaves changing colors, and they look happy. They're enjoying their run. That's what they're selling, right? The just do it. Get out there and have some fun.
Or all of the medications that show you if you take their medicine, you can run through fields and catch butterflies.
Exactly. You're flying kites and stuff.
I want to catch butterflies.
Exactly. And then the next scene is like 30 different side effects. Taking this will cause blah 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 blah.
Maybe
it's so true. What does the butterflies have to do?
That should be the ad, and then the side effects that it may cause: extremely clean cars, a higher trade-in value, pride in your car,
happy spouse. Yeah, exactly. People actually want to ride with you in the carpool lane. Yeah.
I feel, and this is probably not the case at all, but I feel I have so many great ideas for advertising that I should have done that for my work.
Yeah. Well, we were talking earlier before we started about the creativity, see? And that's key, though. Yeah, it is, because that's something, too, is that you got to get creative, which it'll bring us into one of the next ones is, what platform to use and stuff like that. It depends on the type of ads you want to put together. So if you have video equipment and you're good with video and you could shoot someone catching butterflies in the meadow, then by all means go for it. And then that'll make sense for YouTube and Facebook. But maybe you want to advertise just on Google. Well, then you don't need any of that fancy stuff, because you just need
choosing what platform you want to use. There are, I mean, we were just talking about this earlier with Twilio or whatever.
Oh, there's so many.
TikTok is hot right now, but I think what you have to do, probably rewind all the way back, is figure out who exactly the customer that you're trying to hit is. If you're trying to sell a
100%.
ceramic coating, it's one person. Most likely. You got the guy with a sports car who that's an extension of him, but you also
Yeah,
have the soccer mom in her car, in her minivan, she wants the protection on the inside and wants a decent trade-in value. And then you got the one guy who just
exactly.
wants his car to be the cleanest and shiniest possible because it's an extension of his personality. And each of those
Exactly.
people you'd have to do an A/B test to each of your customers. But finding out exactly who your customer is first, and you would maybe look through your historic data of
Yeah.
what jobs the guys that you've done these for, are.
Yeah.
A good
Another
marketing company will do that for you. They'll kind of
Absolutely, yeah. And another great way to do it is a few ways, but the biggest one is ask your existing customers. Just literally, we've asked our existing customers, like, hey, listen, we're going to be running ads on Facebook. If you were to see our ad, which platform would you prefer to see it on? And just be like, what platforms do you use regularly? Do you use this one, this one, this one? And how we usually word it is which one they spend the most time on. So we'll say, which platform do you spend, 40 minutes or more per day? And then we'll put Facebook. We even put things like WhatsApp, stuff like that, because we want to know more than just the ads. We want to know like where we should be messaging people. But in terms of just the ads, just ask your existing customers, ask your friends, just look around you who could potentially be customers. Obviously, you're probably not going to sell to your friend. Maybe you do. We do. But but hey, why not? But just ask people what they're using, and then start to build your own demographics from the real world in your neighborhoods. What age groups are using TikTok. And then take a look at what kind of cars they drive. What kind of cars do their friends drive? And that's going to tell you, are those the customers you want or not? I don't know the answer to that question, but you'll surely know.
all
And
the way down to where do they work and what do they do for their hobbies. Because
yeah,
if you can build out an avatar of your exact demographic that you want to hit, I mean, and I bet most people don't really dive that deep into that side.
they don't. They definitely don't. And the audience is hugely important. It's one of the biggest key metrics that's going to determine your success, because you could have the most beautiful ad, the most persuasive ad copy, and the beautiful landing page, everything like that. You have a good follow-up process in place, but unless you're reaching the right audience, they're not going to buy.
No. The
Like
difference
if
between a shotgun and a laser.
yes, 100%. And if like if I'm trying to target higher end vehicles, and I want to push ceramic coatings and preserving the value of the vehicle, going after a demographic that's on TikTok, and they're I don't know, maybe it's a group of people that's using TikTok that depends, because they have different channels, but that might be a bad example. But if you're targeting an audience that primarily has older vehicles, or vehicles with very little worth, things like that, you're not going to be able to get them with the same ad that's talking about protecting their investment and luxury vehicles and sports cars. It's just not going to happen, right? So finding the right audience is the first part you should be doing, and you should be getting very, very defined. So as you mentioned with the soccer moms, that's one of our big target demographics, and we also target people that have trucks. And how we target them is someone with a truck, for example. So we take a look at who is that person. Well, most of the guys that come in that have trucks at our place, they either live outside of the city. So we target the zip codes and postal codes outside of the city, and then we know, okay, these guys, you can get really specific, like down to within a mile. So we say, okay, these guys live out in the country. Often they have a truck because they need to move things around on their farm or whatever the case may be, and their cars get dirty, or their trucks get dirty often. So we target them. The other group is people that are, have identified as working in construction or have liked a construction or contracting page. Those guys usually have trucks. We target them, and we show a picture of a guy driving a truck, and he'll be maybe like sipping a coffee. We kind of put that in their head so that they think about the times that they've spilt the coffee on the seat and now they need to get it extracted, right? So things like that. So we'll make one ad set just for them, and then we'll do A/B testing within that. We'll show, an older guy driving a truck, a younger guy driving a truck, a guy on the, posted up standing on the outside of his truck. Things like that, are really effective. And then the soccer moms will do the opposite. and we'll have maybe 5 or 6 ads running just for soccer moms, and we target, women only. They have children between certain ages. Maybe they've liked the local soccer club, things like that. And then we target them. One of our most successful ads, which was pretty awesome. So we still run it every spring. We're running it right now, actually. And it's called We Fix Gross. And we just show a mom, and she looked, happy that her car is clean. And then we just showed a bunch of like clutter that was taken out. And it was like, hey, mom, we fix gross. And then that was it. And that thing, it works so well. I don't know. It just appeals to them. But it was one of the winners that was chosen. And Facebook was pretty cool because you can run an A/B test, and Facebook will actually declare a winner for you. So they'll say like, oh, based on, the results, the link clicks, the views, so on and so forth, this ad won. And you can tell Facebook to let the winner keep going and pause the loser. So it's pretty cool.
And so probably the main things that you're going to be looking for is Google for your SEO to get people to go to your website and your Google business page. Facebook, which just seems to be the really big one where you can hit a lot of people.
It's absolutely, yeah.
And maybe some
and
of
it's
the younger
relatively
people,
inexpensive.
maybe some of the younger people aren't on Facebook anymore. Maybe they say, but you know what? If you're going for ceramic coatings, it's probably a 45 to 55-year-old person that you're most likely going to be shooting for in there.
True, yeah.
And then YouTube, which is phenomenal. Hard to get the likes and follows on YouTube.
Yeah, you have to take a different approach with YouTube. Yeah, that's the thing. Each of these platforms, you need a different approach. And there's little tricks for each of them as well. And that's where like a marketing agency working with someone that knows this stuff can really help, because there's just so much you need to know. But one little trick I can give you is that you're going to pay a different fee depending on how much of your ad somebody watches. So if they skip ad in the first 5 seconds, in a lot of jurisdictions, you're not going to pay. And the reason for that has to do with television broadcasting, because everything's sold in 30-second increments. And they're forcing that if someone hasn't watched 30 seconds of your ad, technically it doesn't count as being delivered. Now, that's not the case for everywhere, but it's the case for some places. So what we used to do is we would make the ad really compelling for 4 seconds. Get the phone number out, get a message out, all these kind of things. And then at 5 seconds, we would make it really annoying. And people would skip ad. So it worked well.
You see in between commercials on television, and they'll show like a 1 second little blip of a commercial, and I know they have to do it on purpose. It's some kind of subliminal thing, but I notice that all the time. So I'll go back and I'll like try to frame by frame
try to catch it exactly where. Yeah, exactly. And it's funny because in those instances they do have to make it a certain length, because it's illegal to do, well, in a lot of jurisdictions it's illegal to do subliminal ads because they were so compellingly just showing a quick snap. You have to make it a certain length that you're actually aware that you saw it. You might not know what you saw, but you're aware that you saw something, right?
It's just enough to make me go, hey, what the heck was that?
What was that? Yeah. Next thing you know, you're buying, all this stuff.
So with the like your laser focused targeting with the soccer moms and We Fix Gross, you're telling them exactly what you're doing. Not only are you hitting a specific segment, but you're telling them what you're doing. And then you, I imagine, have to make some kind of an offer or
the offer is crucial.
Yeah.
Item, exactly. You need some sort of offer because, number one, especially on certain platforms like Facebook, it's disruptive advertising. It's, someone's looking at different things on their feed or whatever. They're checking out what their friend had for breakfast, and your ad is now, boom, in their face. It's disruptive to their day. They weren't looking for it. So in those instances, you need something to compel them to want to take action. Google's different. Someone's searching in Google and they're looking specifically for, I'm looking for detailing or tinting or whatever the case may be. They're searching for that specifically. They're expecting to see your ad there. They're expecting to see listings related to that search. So when it comes to Facebook, when it comes to YouTube, you've got to present them with an offer. And I mean, that's just good advertising in general, because it's a way of luring people in. Like you can't walk past any mall, any retail storefront without seeing, it plastered with, like a 2-for-1 and special this, special that. That's how you draw people in. So posting an ad that just says, we do detailing, or, come get your car ceramic coated for $6.99. You need some sort of an offer that tells them why they need to take action. So if it's, instead of saying $6.99, say, get your car ceramic coated, save $250 this weekend only, right? Now, that's where the power of Facebook comes in. For example, you could do something like that, and you could choose the times to run that ad, and you could choose to run it, let's say, only, just before the weekend, and then you turn it off for the weekend. And then you have a different ad running on the weekend, and you could be like, this Saturday only, save $150 on ceramic coating, something like that. And then that way, these ads are very specific. Someone's reading it, and they take action on those items.
It's creating scarcity, so you're
Yes.
making them, it's only this Saturday. I better
do it now, because if not, price is going up tomorrow. So, like, I have to do this now. Honey, where's your credit card? It's it's that kind of moment. That's what you want to create, right? So that's where putting an offer really helps.
And how? Well, I mean, I guess if you know who your audience is, your target that you're shooting for, that makes it easier to set up an A/B. Do you have any examples of an A/B that you've run that's been like drastically different, and maybe where something worked that you didn't think would work at all?
Absolutely. And that's a good point too, is that without doing the A/B test in the beginning, we were just doing, singular ads, and we thought we were getting good results because we were bringing in jobs. So we thought that was great. But what we didn't realize is that when we started doing A/B testing, we had new ads that were outperforming the old ones. And that's the importance of the A/B testing, is that you might think you're doing really well. And I've heard detailers say, like, oh, I'm booked up for a month, I'm booked up for 2 months. And that's supposed to be a good thing. But they don't know that maybe they could be, having twice as many jobs, and this is a whole nother conversation, but I think they should be hiring more staff at that point and getting jobs done faster.
Yeah.
Because waiting for a month and a half, you're just leaving yourself open to competition to come in and get the job done faster. And, now you've lost the customers. But that aside, A/B testing is where you can really figure out, if something is working. And you might think like, oh, I'm getting, 10 submissions a week from this ad, I'm doing really well. But if you ran a slightly different ad, you would have 30 or 40 submissions. And you only know that when you're doing testing, because then you can compare the two against each other. So that being said, in the beginning, we were running some ads, and we thought we were doing really well. And what we were showing was salt removal. It was a huge thing here. We're up in Canada, so they use a lot of salt on the roads, and salt in the carpets is a huge problem. So we were doing salt ads, and we were showing salt removal, and we were showing basically salty carpet being transformed into a clean carpet. Makes sense, right? We thought it made sense because we were showing the solution. And by all, logic, it kind of does make sense on paper until it's put into the real world. Nobody really cared. They wanted the entire car cleaned, and people were assuming that for the price, even though all the package details were the same, we were including everything the same, people were assuming that they were paying that price just to get the carpets cleaned. They weren't reading the ad. They didn't see that, they include, they're doing the exterior, they're cleaning my wheels, they're cleaning. They didn't see any of that. They just saw the price and that we fixed the carpets. So that ad was performing okay. And by okay, we were getting around 10 submissions a week. In the beginning days, when we first started the shop, that wasn't bad because we were brand new. We had no presence, no nothing. That was okay. We changed it, and instead of showing that, we showed somebody standing beside their clean car. That was it. Real customer, took a picture of them, and we said, hey, this is so-and-so. They just came in and they gave us 5 stars. We want 5 stars from you next. Then we said, salt removal, this and that, this and that, this and that. That ad did better. Wasn't a good ad. It wasn't a good ad. I'm getting to that. It did better, though. We ended up getting 25 submissions on average a week now. We were like, okay, this is great. We thought that was it. We left that one running for about a month and a half. Okay, it was doing well. The big ticket changed when we ran an A/B test for each of them. So we took those 2 ads and we ran an A/B for the first one and an A/B for the second one. And the only thing we changed was we stopped putting, pictures of before and after, and we stopped putting a picture of just some guy standing outside of his car, and then the 5-star thing. We still ran those ones because we needed that for the A, but the B part, that's what changed. So the B part, what we did for those ones is we switched to video. All we did a video of our shop. We just showed the shop. That was it. And then we just put the details of the promo. That was the one that we ran first. That one did so well. So what we realized is video works phenomenally well. It works a lot better than the other one. That one worked. The next ad we ran actually had me talking. And so I popped into the screen. So I was out of the screen, and then I popped in, and I said, hey, I'm the owner of Auto World. We've got a great deal for you. This weekend only, we can get rid of all the salt in your car. We're going to do a shampoo. We're going to do this, do this, do this. If you click this button that's going to be around here, I'm going to give you a free glass cleaning. Boom. Not glass cleaning, glass protection. Mm-hmm. That one did so well, but the big change was it was coupled with follow-ups. The other ones, we were just kind of waiting for people to come to us. That one, honestly, the big change was people saw my face, and then I was following up with them. Hey, it's Sean. They'd be like, you're the guy from the video. I was like, yeah, that was me. Listen, I can get you in, da-da-da. And that's when we brought in tinting. I took every single one of those detailing jobs and turned them into a detail and a tint. I couldn't believe it. Like, even we had one guy, his car was already tinted. I convinced him that we should strip all the tint and put the exact same shade back up, but ceramic instead of regular tint. And that way it would offer more heat protection. His car was mint, and we stripped the windows. But he just had a newborn, so he was worried about their skin in the back seat and stuff like that. So it helps. And I educated him. The windshield blocks the UVA and UVB, but the side windows don't. Right. So anyway, it was magic. But our A/B test, I know it sounds boring, but this stuff excites me because this is real money. It's real money that's on the table.
And this is why it just makes sense. If you're going to run a business and you're trying to grow, you can't wear all of the hats.
You can't wear all the hats.
You just can't. You can't.
I love the props.
Yeah. You can't wear all the hats, though. Seriously.
Yeah.
There's only... I mean, I feel like we're just going over the same point, or I am just over and over, but I mean, you just can't.
But it's true, and it really does need to be, it needs to be drilled home. And so on that note, you can obviously do a lot of this on your own. Absolutely. The information is there. It's free. It just takes time, takes experience, and experience comes with doing something over and over. So that being said, in keeping up with tradition, with Owner's Pride and OrbisX, we do like to always gift something away. So I'm going to gift away 60 minutes of my time to one lucky individual who's going to, or a team, depending if you've got a shop and you have a team. But I'll make myself available for 60 minutes to go over your current, social marketing, review your ads with you, help you set up your Facebook page, your retargeting pixel, whatever kind of stuff you need done. I will give away 60 minutes of my time to sit down and go over that with you. And then you'll be able to take those golden nuggets and turn it into your own refinery.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. That's a great offer. And somebody, how are we going to choose who gets that?
You know what? That's a good idea. Maybe they comment and then you choose one at random. I don't know. Does that work?
Yeah. So everybody who comments on the Owner's Pride podcast page.
On the page video, I share it so many
places. I share it like 30 times.
Yeah.
So you do it on the main one, on the Owner's Pride podcast Facebook
Perfect.
page.
There we go.
And
yes,
leave a comment there, and we'll randomly choose one person to get 60 minutes of, like, I don't know,
marketing gold,
marketing shotgun wedding. I don't know really.
Exactly. And on that note,
so exciting.
Exactly, shotgun wedding. Love it. Well, and what that is in terms of value, by the way. So whenever I do consulting for our clients now, so if one of our clients comes in creative designs and they need consulting for that, I charge $450 an hour. So you're getting a $450 value for free.
Yep. He ain't talking a $5
Yeah.
bill, y'all.
Nope. Definitely not. So, and there's one other thing, one last thing that we forgot to talk about real quick is that secret weapon, the Facebook ads library. So there's a tool that if you do want to venture out and do this on your own, or you're curious what other ads look like, you can check out what your competitors are doing, because Facebook has a little known tool. It's a kind of a secret. It's free. It's out there. It's the Facebook ads library. Somewhere, I guess we can post a link. Maybe when this posts, we can post a link on the page. You can click that, and you can actually search a Facebook page, and it'll show all the ads that are running for that Facebook page. So you can check out your competitors and see what ads they're running on Facebook. You can check out other detail shops in other states or provinces and see what they're running, get some inspiration, see what's working, what's not working, give you a good idea of what to try, especially in your local markets. And on that note, one little secret that you can do to prevent others from seeing your ads is what we do at our shop is we actually created a separate ad account. It's not tied to our main page. And the reason we do that is so that our competitors can't do that to us. So we've seen all their ads because they did far ahead, but they can't see our ads. So that's a little secret, and we'll post a link somewhere. It'll go on there, and you can check out your competitors' ads as well as other people's ads. But a great thing too is don't limit yourself to detailing. Check out ads for random companies and see what kind of ads they're running. You know, like HVAC guys, I don't know, contractors, things like that. It'll give you some inspiration into, because their customers are your customers too. It's
you know what I've been doing lately too? Somebody will call me and they're calling to sell me something. I'll give them 5 or 10 minutes. Yeah. Okay. I'm probably the most impossible person to sell something to. But I'll let them go. I'll play along. I'll listen to their pitch and see. Sometimes I critique them at the end and suggest a book for them to read, because I'm like, you'll be a lot more powerful if you read this book. You got to work on your approach.
But it makes sense. So I do the same thing too. Whenever phone calls come in and they'll, like, oh, we were wondering, are you happy with your current credit card processing company? And I'm like, yes, to be honest, I'm happy. But I tell you what, hit me with your pitch. I do marketing and I'll give you some feedback. I do the same thing. That's hilarious. Why not? Sometimes they have a really good pitch though, or they say something that you learn from. You're like, oh, geez, that really makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it could be a free nugget that just plops down in the middle of your day.
It just came right into your lap. Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah. Perfect. So I think we covered most bases.
We really did. Well, thanks as usual. OrbisX still seems to be the leading CRM software out there. You keep adding more stuff to it.
Absolutely, yeah. Oh, and this coming week, actually, we're launching Zapier integrations. So OrbisX will literally integrate with 3,000 apps. So whatever you're using, it'll integrate with Shopify, HubSpot, WooCommerce, WordPress, you name it. It'll integrate with all of that stuff. It can even post to your Google Calendar if you want. It can do anything.
Man, I say, somebody leave a comment, for goodness sakes. Give me a like and a share. Leave a comment. Somebody's going to win this $450 Power Hour with Mr. Sean Gervais.
Power Hour! I love it. That's good.
See, we're putting the spin on it too.
There we go. The Power Hour.
So I'm sure that you'll be returning as a guest again.
Yeah, absolutely.
I very much appreciate every time that you come on here. You're a fun interview, and you always give some great information for everybody.
Absolutely.
Sean
Here to help.
From OrbisX and Creative Designs, Print Shark, Auto World. You need something done, this man can probably do it. And if he can't, if it's a good idea, he'll make a business that can do it.
and then we'll do it for you when we're done. Exactly.
Awesome.
Well, much appreciated. Thanks for having me again, Dan. Absolutely.
Right. Thanks for taking some time out of your day to be on the Owner's Pride podcast. And thanks for listening to the Owner's Pride podcast. Questions, comments, show ideas, leave them for us on the Owner's Pride podcast Facebook page. Likes and reviews, love them. Until next time, stay glossy.
We hope you've enjoyed today's presentation of the Owner's Pride podcast. To learn more about our products, become an authorized installer, or to get a quote, visit ownerspride.com.